It's the start of the month. It's the start of a month. It's the start of a new 6-year session with a new president. Good morning, Ross. Number one, as usual. Morning, Viswan. Yes, I was saying it's a start of the month, start of a new 6-year term with a new president. And it's start of a new chapter of our lives. And today's topic is a very, very big topic. It's a topic that many of us don't think it's important because we speak of survival. But today I'm going to be talking about success. Okay, why success is vital and why success is a duty. It's your duty. Okay, so let me get started right away. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about Grant Cardone's audiobook, The 10X Rule. Now, the audiobook is nearly 8 hours of passionate sharing about why 10x, 10 times, is necessary for success. And it obviously involves massive action. But it's not just about action, it's about actually 10xing your attitude or your mindset. So I'm going to play an edited excerpt from the first 1 hour segment and then a bit from the second hour segment.
And thrive. Think of success in terms of expansion. Without continued growth, any entity, be it a corporation, dream, a race, ceases to exist. History is full of examples that support a notion that disaster occurs when expansion doesn't continue. You can include the Vikings, ancient Rome, Greece, communist Russia, and an endless list of companies and products. Look, success is needed in order to perpetuate, to push forward people, places, and things. You must never reduce success in your mind or in a conversation to something that doesn't matter. On the contrary, you must treat success as though it's vital, it's important. Anyone that minimizes the importance of success to your future has probably given up on his or her own chances of accomplishment, and is spending now his or her life trying to convince others, you in this case, to also give up. Individuals and groups must actively accomplish their goals and targets in order to carry on with their goals and targets. If not, look, they'll either cease to exist or be consumed and become part of something else. Companies and industries that wish to maintain their status must successfully continue to create products and then get those products into the market. Acquire clients, keep the clients, acquire employees, keep the employees, and then keep all these players happy, and then repeat that cycle over and over. There are far too many cute sayings that seem to dismiss the importance of success, like, success is a journey, not a destination. Please, man, you're killing me. You're making me sick. I want to puke. When terrible economic contractions occur, everyone quickly realizes they can't eat or make house payment with cute little sayings. The economic events of just the past several years should make it obvious how badly we have all underestimated the importance of success and how essential it actually is to your family, your company, and your personal survival. It's not enough just to play the game. It's vital you learn how to win at this game. Winning over and over again at everything in which you're involved ensures you're going to be able to further expand and survive. And it guarantees that both you and your ideas will survive, not just get by, but survive into the future. Success is equally important to a person's sense of self. Look, let's face it, when you're successful, it promotes a sense of confidence. Well, what's wrong with that? When you're successful, it promotes a sense of imagination and a sense of security, and it emphasizes the significance of your contributions. People who are unable to provide for their families and their future put themselves and their family at risk. That can't be good. People who aren't successful can't buy goods and services. This can cause an economy to slow down, even crash, causes taxes to be diminished, which will then negatively impact funding of schools, hospital, and public services. Now, I know about this time someone's saying, but Grant, success is not everything. And of course it isn't everything. Who said that? I always wonder, what point are you trying to make when you have this thought or make that statement? Someone once in my seminar said to me, Grant, success isn't everything. And I said, are you trying to diminish the importance of success? The success you haven't been able to attain? Is that what you're trying to do here? Because I don't understand your point. Of course success is not everything. Get real. Regardless of whatever your goals that you're trying to attain, success is critical, man. Quit playing with it. Quit diminishing the value of it. It is vital. It is critical. If you quit caring, then you're going to quit winning. And if you quit winning long enough in this thing called success, you're going to just plain quit. Do kids benefit when they see their moms and dads losing and quitting? No. Does anyone benefit when they don't get their art sold, or you don't get that great book written and you don't get it published and nobody buys it? Dude, nobody wins. No one benefits from failure. However, if you're able to reverse it and attain your goals and be successful and acquire the dreams you set for yourself, now that has positive outcomes. So your exercise here. What are some cute sayings that you've heard about success that actually diminish the importance of success? Very important you write that down now so you can start understanding what people are telling you and what you've been made to believe. Second question in the exercise. How would being successful be important to you, and how would it improve your life? Chapter 4. Success is your duty. One of the greatest turning points in my life occurred when I stopped casually waiting for success and instead approached success as my duty, my obligation, and my responsibility. I literally began to see success as an ethical issue, a duty to my family, my company, and my future, rather than as something that may or may not happen to me. I spent 17 years getting a formal education that was supposedly going to prepare me for the world. And not one course was on success, much less nothing told me what I was going to have to do in order to get it. Amazing. Years of education, information, hundreds of books, time in class, and money that I borrowed from the federal government, yet I was missing the single thing that was most necessary, the purpose. What's the purpose? However, I was fortunate enough, didn't feel fortunate at the time, to have two distinct experiences in my life that served as major wake-up calls. My existence and survival in both these times were seriously threatened. The first occurred when I was 25. My life was a mess, pitiful mess, caused by years of approaching life aimlessly. I was drifting with no real purpose and no real focus. I had no money, plenty of uncertainty, no direction, too much free time, and still hadn't made a commitment to approach success as an obligation. Now look, don't misunderstand me. I wanted money and I wanted to be successful, but I hadn't approached it as a duty and obligation yet. Had I not had this realization at 25 and gotten serious about my life, I don't think I'd be alive today, much less successful. Look, I would be dead. You don't need to grow old to die. I was dying at the age of 20 as a result of no direction and no purpose. At that time, I couldn't hold a job, had surrounded myself with losers, was terminally hopeless, literally terminally hopeless, and if that weren't enough, using drugs and alcohol on a daily basis in amounts that would kill most people. Had I continued on without a serious wake-up call, I would have continued to live, at best, a mediocre existence, and probably much worse. Had I not committed to a life of success as a duty, I would not have identified my purpose in life and would have merely spent a life fulfilling someone else's purpose. Let's face it, there are plenty of people living mere existences, and I should know. At that time in my life, I was in sales, and I treated sales in the business I was in with complete disdain and dislike. When I finally committed to sales as a career, as my duty and my obligation and my responsibility, and decided finally to do whatever it took in order to become successful at selling, bam, everything changed. And you know what? Selling was no longer the problem. I was winning at it. Now, my second awakening, completely different, took place recently, actually, at the age of 50, 25 years later. The economy was going through the biggest contraction since the Great Depression. Literally every aspect of my life was being put at risk, as it was for billions of other individuals on planet Earth, including companies, industries, even entire economies. It became evident almost overnight because of external happenings that the companies that I had developed were not powerful enough in their sectors, and the future now was in jeopardy. Not because of something I did, but because of what was happening around me. Additionally, my financial well-being, for the first time in 25 years, had been put in jeopardy. What others thought was a tremendous financial wealth that I had collected over the years, for the first time was in danger. I remember turning on TV one day and hearing reports about unemployment numbers increasing, wealth being destroyed due to the stock market collapse, housing corrections, homes being foreclosed on, banks shutting down, and companies being bailed out. I realized that I had put my family, my company, and myself in a precarious situation because I had started to rest on my laurels and had discontinued approaching success as a duty, obligation, and a responsibility. Look, I had lost my focus and purpose. At both of these pivotal points in my life, both completely different, I woke up to the fact that success is important in order to have a full life. In the second case, I realized that greater quantities of success are necessary than most people ever calculate, and that continued pursuit of success must be approached not as a choice, but as an absolute must. Most people approach success in the same way that I did when I hadn't fully committed to it. They look at it as though it doesn't really matter, like it's an option, or perhaps just something that other people get to have. Others settle for just a little success. They believe, oh, if I just get a little, everything's going to be all right. Look, treating success as an option is one of the major reasons why most people never create success for themselves, and why people don't even get close to living to their full, true potential. Ask yourself, how close are you living to your full capability? Really? You might not like the answer very much. Look, if you don't consider it your duty to live up to your full potential, then you're not. You just simply won't do it. If it doesn't become an ethical issue for you, then you won't feel obligated and driven to fulfill your capacity, your capabilities. People don't approach the creation of success as a must-have obligation, do or die mission, gotta have it, hungry dog on the back of a meat truck mentality that's like just sticks to you, you're obsessed by. Look, if you don't approach it like that, you're not going to have it. They then spend the rest of their lives making excuses of why they don't get it. And that's what happens when you consider success to be an alternative or an option rather than an obligation. In my home today, we consider success vital to our family's future survival. We consider it our obligation to create success. My wife and I are on the same page with this concept. We meet often to talk about why it's important to us and determine exactly what we have to do and what we're willing to do to keep secondary issues out of the way of the primary issues. Now, I'm not just talking about money here. I just don't mean success in monetary terms, but in every area. Our marriage needs to be successful. Our health needs to be successful. Man, me as a spiritual being, I want to be successful as a spiritual being, and I want to know who I am and where I'm going. The contributions to the community, I want that to be successful. I want my future to be successful, even long after we're both gone. See, you have to approach the notion of success the way a good parent approaches duty to their children. It's an honor, an obligation. The kids are a priority. Good parents will do whatever it takes to take care of their children. Anything. They'll die for their kids. They'll get up in the middle of the night to feed their baby. They'll work as hard as they have to in order to clothe and feed them. They'll fight for them, even put their lives at risk to protect them. See, this is how you want to fight for success. Duty, obligation, responsibility.
Okay, that's a segment for us to chew on, okay, and really reflect on.